This is me, but I'm sticking around. Oh, that's my stuff.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the September 9th, 2024 Jackson Township Planning Board meeting. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this meeting has been adequately noticed in all the appropriate forums and places, and therefore complies with the OPMA. Madam Chairman?
Thank you. We had the salute, we had the public on meetings act. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brezzi? Here. Mr. Bernstein?
Here.
Mr. Marzo? Here. Mr. Heller?
Here.
Mr. Riker? Here. Ms. Rose? Mr. Tremor?
Here.
Mr. Weingart? Mr. Wall?
Mr. Wall's walking in. He'll be in a second.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
Dr. Campbell?
Here. I don't think we have an executive session, do we, Mr. Shea? Nope.
Not at this time.
Okay. Let's have a roll call regarding payment of voucher for recording secretary. We'll look for a motion, please.
Motion to pay the voucher.
Second.
Let's see. Any engineering or planning matters, gentlemen?
We need to do a roll call.
I thought we did.
Roll call.
I'm sorry. You have a roll call on this.
Mr. Brezzi? Yes. Mr. Bernstein?
Yes.
Mr. Marzo? Yes. Mr. Heller?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes, thank you. We did no engineering problems, no planning problems, any legal matters,
Not at this time.
and a report on the master plan?
Yes, thank you. Is it working? No, there is. Sorry. We met this evening with our consultants, and we are continuing our review of the master plan elements. Right now, we're focused on land use and climate change. We'll continue with further updates as they occur. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think we have any resolutions, but we do have some changes to the schedule. Block 6501, Lot 42.0, My Address LLC, carry from September 9th tonight to December 2nd with notice required. I'll take a motion on that one.
So moved. Sullivan.
Second, Dreamer.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's good enough.
And also, just so the applicant is aware, is on that, is that they are an LLC, they need to be represented. So just formally for the record, they don't have counsel at this time.
Block 19501, Lot 21, Nakalis Avas LLC, carry from September 23rd, 2024 to December 16th with notice required. We'll take a motion, please.
So moved. Sullivan.
Second, Riker.
All in favor?
Aye.
Blocks 2301/4201/4301, lots 1, 2, 26.01, 28, 29, 30, 2.01, 15, 56, and 57, and 1. Jackson Development Company, Jackson 21, Cary, from November 4th, 2024 to January 6th for scheduling purposes only. Take a motion on that, please.
Second, Sullivan.
And let's have a roll call vote on that one. It's big.
On that one?
Yeah, just that last one.
Okay. Mr. Brezzi? Mr. Bernstein?
Yes.
Mr. Marzo?
Yes.
Mr. Heller?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes. Any legal matters that need discussion?
Not at this time.
Any board matters for discussion? All right. Block 19301, Lot 4, Grawtown Estates, 10-year statutory projection period. Mr. Alfieri. Yep, got
Good
it.
evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. I've discussed this, the correspondence I sent to the board with your attorney. Due to the size of the project and the volume of homes that are being built in this area, the applicant wanted to take advantage of the statutory protection provisions within the statute. Normally, we would have a 2-year statutory protection period and come back every year and ask for another year and another year, up to 5. But due to the size of this project, the statute authorizes the board to extend that period. If we've requested a 10-year statutory protection period, which simply means that the zoning can't change. It doesn't change the approvals in any way. And we request that the board consider that, again, because of we do meet all the statutory criteria. It's just the size of the project is such we think it's justified.
And Mr. Alfieri, nothing has been cleared out there, nor is there an intent to clear? That's
No, nothing's
my
been cleared.
concern.
Nothing to my, well, we just recently have received approval. We don't have any of the outside agency approvals. We don't have resolution compliance, so we're probably a year or two away from getting to the point where we have resolution compliance, never mind clearing or
I just want to
construction.
put on the record that there will be no disturbance of that area until we get through all these compliances.
I'll make sure that the client is aware of
Please.
that. That's fine.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We'll accept a motion from the board on this topic, please,
Motion to approve, Riker. Second, Treimer.
and a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Brezzi? Yes. Mr. Okay, Mr. Bernstein?
I was away for this last application, so I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Marzo?
Yes.
Mr. Heller?
Yes.
Mr. Riker?
Yes.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Abstain since I was not at the meeting that approved this original application.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alfieri. I'm sure we'll see you before that 10 years is up.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I need to step out and get showing.
Yes,
Thank you.
understood. Mr. Riker is leaving the meeting. All right. And weren't we doing this one with them too? Oh, all right. Block 12201, lots 16 and 18, Bennett's Mills Realty LLC. Ms. Jennings.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, I'm Donna Jennings from the law firm of Wilentz, Goldman, and Spitzer. As the board is aware, the applicant is here this evening seeking an amended site plan approval for Block 12201, lots 16 and 18 on the township tax maps. They previously had obtained preliminary and final site plan approval to construct and operate a daycare at the property via a resolution adopted by the board on November 20th, 2023. The approved application did not include any variances. This one does not as well. The approved plans did include secondary site access along Johnson Lane, which runs along the eastern side of the property and intersects Bennett's Mills Road. As set forth in the testimony, access to the property from Johnson Lane was to be by emergency vehicles only. Parents dropping off their children at the daycare would not be permitted to access the property via Johnson Lane. An appeal of that approval was filed by the property owners of 342 Bennett's Mills Road, directly across Johnson Lane from the applicant's property. Their main objection was the proposed use of the Johnson Lane as an emergency access. In response, the applicant filed an application seeking amended preliminary and final site plan approval to revise its emergency vehicle access plan and remove secondary site access from Johnson Lane. As the testimony will show, emergency responders will still have the ability to reach the rear of the daycare building under the amended site plan. We note that secondary site access for daycares is not a requirement under any New Jersey statute or township ordinance. No modifications are being proposed to the approved structure. Importantly, the Borough of Fire Prevention District Number 4 provided a letter dated July 23, 2024, confirming that, quote, the amended emergency access road to the rear of the building located at 334 Bennett's Mill Road has been approved. With me this evening is Mr. McFarland, who testified originally. He'll offer some additional testimony, and we are also in receipt of the board engineer's report dated August 9th, 2024.
Before I swear you in, let me just address the board real quick. So this matter is in litigation, and one of the reasons why we're back here tonight, just to address the board on the issue, is that when we did this, one of the allegations that the plaintiff is making is that the way that we did this and the way it was put together, it created a title issue as to a segment of the property in regards to this access point. So if the board was to approve this, the application that Mrs. Jennings is presenting to us, it would help to mitigate that issue at a litigational level, just so that everybody's on the same page here. All right. So,
Can we, may I just ask the engineer and the planner if they have anything to say on this topic before we begin?
Not too much, Madam Chair. Everything's basically the same what was approved. I could have easily, forgetting the litigation for a moment, I could have easily treated this as a field change required by an outside agency, and if the fire people approved it, I'm good.
It's what we're looking for. Anything, Mr. Peters? No?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Great, all right. Now we'll go ahead.
All right.
Thank you.
do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please state your name and spell your last for the record, because we have no idea who you are.
Sure, it's Graham McFarlane, M-A-C-F-A-R-L-A-N-E, professional engineer, professional planner, previously qualified and testified before this board.
The board accepts your credentials? Hang on.
Nice to see you again, sir.
Thank you, you too. Yes, as Ms. Jennings indicated, this application, this amended application is simply to make a change to the emergency access lane. Anthony, you just go to the next sheet for me, and we'll just go through I think I submitted 4 plans in support of the application. You can see the amended plan just shows the emergency access will still be on the east side of the building, and it will allow the fire trucks or any emergency equipment to get to the right side of the building and to the play area behind the building that will be paved. Anthony, just go to the next sheet for me, please. The next sheet shows a little more clearly the circulation path of a fire vehicle that we submitted to the Fire Bureau for review, and we did get a letter dated July 23rd where they approved this plan. And just for context, the original application that we submitted had shown that there could possibly be secondary access for emergency vehicles from Johnson Lane, but the adjoining property owners objected to that, and that is really the nature of why we're here tonight. That's what drove this amendment. So we have made these changes throughout the plan set. Anthony, just go to the next sheet for me real quick. The next sheet is just a landscape plan where we had made some adjustments to location of some of the landscaping, rearrangement of that space on the right side of the building, just a touch between the building and where the emergency lane is going to be. And of course, eliminated the portion of the emergency lane that went up to the bend further down and Johnson Lane further to the north. So that's really the context of the application. And really, just because it's in litigation, we felt it was appropriate to come back and make a formal application for the amended approval.
And just so the record's clear, the building size remains the same?
Correct.
And the number of parking spaces remain the same?
Correct.
And the access on Bennett's Mill remains the same?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any questions from board members? Hearing none, I'll open this to the public, please. Anyone wishing to speak only on this testimony? Not on whether you like it, you don't like it, just on the testimony. Thank you. Your name and your address, please.
My name is Mike Selwyn, and I live at 45 Johnson Lane.
Do you swear?
I
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right.
So as Madam Chairman has already indicated, there's no point in my going over the fact that I think the entire project is bizarre in terms of where it is. It's going to decrease home values.
Any
Anyway,
questions,
my question
sir?
is, has the new plans been approved by the fire department?
They had a letter, I believe I heard, the letter was put into testimony that did approve. Ms. Jennings, what do you?
That is correct. There's a July 23rd, 2024 letter from Fire District Number 4.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a
The
copy of
way
that letter?
I'm understanding it, the road is now going to parallel Johnson Lane, is that?
Well, you want to direct your questions at Mr. McFarland?
Mr. McFarland, to Mr. McFarland, please, the question.
Mr. McFarland, is the new access for emergency vehicles is going to parallel Johnson Lane? It's going to be a separate road next to Johnson Lane.
Anthony, if you can go back to the circulation plan for me, please? Next one. Next sheet, please. So you can see that the path for the emergency vehicles is contained within the driveway and parking area of the facility until it gets to, to the end, where the parking lot ends, where an emergency vehicle may have to get around to the back of the building.
And Anthony, could you go right in very close for that parking area and that's it, very good, thank you. Maybe that'll help you, sir, see it a little better.
Okay, it looks like there's going to be a space of some kind between the emergency access lane and
Yes, and
Johnson.
there was quite a bit of foliage and trees that were
Yeah, I saw the
proposed.
landscaping plan, but I'm
Correct.
just curious, do we have some idea of the width of that section that's going to parallel Johnson Road, a lane?
You're asking about this,
Yes.
that strip there?
What is that width? Approximately.
I think it's about 25 feet.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's available for two-way traffic and emergency if needed, so yes, 25 feet would be appropriate. Anyone else wishing to ask questions of Mr. McFarland, please? Not any discussion other than,
Mr. Rapp, 49 Johnson Lane, Jackson, New Jersey. I swear that all the testimony I give will be...
Hang on.
let the attorney do what he's paid for.
I have to do it or else it doesn't qualify. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, and your name and address for the record?
James Rapp, R-A-P-B, 49 Johnson Lane, Jackson, New Jersey, for 40 years.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I know, I have a question about the change in the macadam. I see that behind what used to be Debbie's farm there, that hashed out area, if you bring down the plan a little bit, and you see where the new access road, I guess it's called emergency access road, that loops around behind the one-story daycare building. Nope,
No,
up
down-
further?
down toward the
Hash
street.
marked?
Hash mark to the left, down toward the street. That's
All the way
it.
up the top of the screen.
part.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Oh, okay.
And what's the
Could you please tell me whether or not on the last plan, the original plan before this amended one that we're talking about tonight, whether or not that was macadam? Because I recall that it was not.
It was not. We had, on the original plan, we did have some bituminous pavement behind the building, just like this plan has, back here. But we did enlarge it a little bit to accommodate the turning radius of an emergency vehicle.
And the limit of that macadam is that hashed out area, so that will be only grasses and natural and
Yeah,
trees,
well,
undisturbed?
What's cross-hatched up at the top would be grass. Would be grass. It's intended to be a grass outdoor play area.
Okay, so basically the loop is the part that's macadam, and you expanded it a bit to accommodate the
Correct.
radius.
That's correct.
A turning radius.
Correct.
Did you do any additional calculations for flooding? Water is a huge problem there.
Correct, we did.
You made the retention pond bigger?
We didn't have to make it any bigger. It was an insignificant change.
Okay. I assume you're going to be giving additional testimony about the septic system, because I reviewed the plans and I see that it seems to me like you're trying to punch into the existing high-pressure sewer line or water line that passes, not sewer line, it's
Yeah.
a water line, service
Yeah,
line there?
we're not, so that issue was vetted out at the formal application for the entirety of the plan. This application is simply for the removal of this condition. So we're not going to be...
That's different on the original plan. That's not shown on the original plan. I reviewed these
As long,
plans,
as
and
long
it's
as,
different.
as long as they, so what happens with the septic system and everything like that, as long as they comport with the state and federal guidelines for that,
not
then
the septic-
that is a jurisdiction
I
that takes over
understand.
that. We
It's
don't,
not just the septic I'm asking about. I'm asking about
right,
them
but
tapping in.
their application doesn't have anything to do with the septic system. So whatever they have is worked out with the board engineer and also the Ocean County Board of Health and the Department of Health.
So if you could ask the applicant to re-express what this plan tonight shows as far as waste
Sir,
disposal.
this is only about
Right.
this access road. Everything else has been determined.
Nothing changed from when I was here when you threw me out.
Nothing has changed.
I reserve
Thank
my
you.
right to public comment at the end.
Thank you.
You got it.
You'll be back. We'll give another opportunity. Anyone else who would like to question the applicant's expert?
Seeing no,
Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh, yep.
Thank you,
Smooth the
and-
microphone. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You have to speak into the microphone, ma'am.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. It's being recorded, so we have to hear you.
State
Thank
your
you.
name and name for the address.
Janice Rapp, 49 Johnson Lane, which is at the end of the dirt road.
Excellent.
So I just would like to be clear.
To speak into the microphone, ma'am, it's being recorded.
Is it
Thank you.
clear that there is going to be no use whatsoever of the dirt road, of Johnson Lane, the dirt road? Because from the letter that we got certified, it was unclear. It sounded like it could possibly be removing the gate at the end in front of our house. Is there any, can you confirm that there's no action going to be taken on the removal of that gate?
No,
And-
we're-
And, I'm sorry, and that no traffic from this facility will be coming down Johnson Lane, disturbing our peaceful neighborhood, which this shouldn't be here to begin with, but I want that to be clear, because we're unclear if the dirt road is
Correct.
going
Our
to be used.
access to the site is only from Bennett's Mills Road. There's no driveway connecting to Johnson Lane, and we are not proposing to do anything with the gate that divides those two pieces of Johnson
Okay.
Lane.
Another question, not sure if this is pertaining to tonight, but
Ma'am,
will
I'm
there
sorry.
will there be any notification, any signage to the people that are going to be using this facility when they come here, that they do not come down the other end of Johnson Lane to access this, that it's only accessed off of Bennett's Mills Road? Because the GPS will take anybody looking for this facility from the back end, in front of our house, in front of his house, in front of his house, to try to get here.
Again, all I can say is that the site access is only from Bennett's Mills Road. There's no other access proposed, and there's no access to the site from Johnson Lane.
Okay.
I can't comment on the use of GPS systems.
How about the traffic report? It seems like, because we live there, it doesn't seem like there's enough highway.
Excuse me, ma'am, this is not a traffic expert. This gentleman is only giving
Okay.
testimony on this road.
Well, the entrances to the, oh, I'm sorry, okay, that's not the,
Yes, you
Okay,
understand. Thank
um,
you.
all righty then,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else who would like to ask any questions of this expert witness?
seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public cross-examination.
Second. All right, now we're going
All in
to,
favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
now we're going to open it up to the public. General comment? And again, we got it's a narrow issue. I know we're not used to that because we're used to just the bigger, broader applications with a lot of different issues, but we just keep it narrow, all right?
I'll do my best.
Okay,
I mean,
do your best.
I'm an American living in a town that is undergoing a significant gentrification, and I'll try my best to keep it as less
Please keep
personal
it
and
to,
focused as you can. I
please,
got
sir,
something
keep
prepared.
it to
The
this
topic.
topic only. Thank you.
I, James, rise again, once again in opposition to this project. The traffic impact, noise, long and late hours of operation, its multi-use aspect, and the size and scope of the design are not consistent with a safe neighborhood. The project harms residents, destroying the neighborhood atmosphere we purchased and presently enjoy. Its close proximity to our right-of-way will surely result in multiple nonstop intrusions, causing danger to the children whom we love and play right outside of our homes. In addition, the huge amount of both human and chemical waste being disposed of so close to our drinking wells is unacceptable, and it's an unacceptable design aspect. The constantly changing uses expressed by the applicant during the approval process necessitates a new application process. This project in its current form hardly represents its initial application, considering the tax form contained in the package also states that it is likely to apply for a tax-free 501c3, which tells me it's probably not going to be.
Sir,
It's going to be a
gotta stop you.
yeshiva.
I got to stop you.
Thank
All right,
you.
so
Moving on.
We're here
Beginning with
just
the fact
for-
that it was initiated.
Please,
Excuse
please
me,
stop.
sir.
Beginning
Please
with the
stop
fact that
talking.
it was-
Stop speaking,
Let me
please.
just address you, all right?
Go ahead.
And then we can have a
Sure.
constructive back and
Mr.
forth.
Shea, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So there's a significant amount of case law which dictates that.
I can't
whenever-
hear you, I'm sorry.
There's a significant amount of case law that dictates that whenever you have a public comment period, all right, it has to be narrowly tailored to what's in front of the board. So what is the purpose of the application that is being sought for either an approval or denial? In this situation, it's simply just the removal of the condition that we put on for the secondary access. That's it. So I know you got a lot to say, but I'm just asking you, we can't bring in all these different outside circumstances and issues that are not relevant to this very narrowly tailored issue. So if you have anything that you want to say, just in general, and that's your right, okay, as to this issue, then go for it. But if we start bringing in tax status and everything like that, I got to stop you.
It's
right.
in the public record. It's in your records, and I referenced the
I'm
plans.
not worried about that. You can go online
You
and
might not be
search
worried about
anybody's
it,
Sir,
but
tax
the
record.
residents of
we
Jackson,
have
right?
finished this, we have finished this application except for this very narrow subject of this road. That's the only thing we can talk about tonight. That's all the application is dealing with this evening. We are not dealing with extraneous matters of the past. This is a finished application. All you can address tonight is that particular road.
Also, we discussed, Ms. DeMarzo also alerted me to the fact that we're discussing master plan issues. May I comment and opine on that?
No,
No.
Why not?
because this is not a master plan hearing.
And this is not a township committee meeting where you can get up and
Right.
discuss whatever you have on your mind. This is a very narrow subject for a board that only is concerned with this application at this time and what is on that screen. It's not generally discussing what's going on in Jackson. That you can do in a township committee meeting.
Right. So pursuant to the municipal land use law, what happens is that whenever you go before a planning board, zoning board, it has to be narrowly tailored to whatever is in front, whatever the relief is being sought before the board. So for instance, you go to a freeholder meeting, right? You go to a township council meeting. That's kind of the platform for you to kind of talk about whatever you want to, because that's the forum that you can address it in. In this situation, municipal land use law requires us to be narrowly tailored so that we can get through everything in an expedited fashion. That's the way the appellate and the Supreme Court division has ruled on these issues. I have to enforce it, it's my job.
I understand, Mr. Shea. And I think you've heard enough of public testimony in opposition to the overall project to have come up with a different determination in the approval process. And that's the problem, is that we have been heard. I was removed by the police when you made the final determination, so I feel like I've been not represented sufficiently in this
Sir, you can
forum.
discuss these
Sir.
matters at a township committee meeting. This is simply not the venue.
Right, and just to point out, last time you thought you were having a heart attack, so in all honesty, you thought we were doing you a service, but
No,
that's beside the point.
You know,
all
Mr.
right?
Shea,
So
I told you before, and
So
I'm going to treat everybody with
please, if you
respect
could.
tonight, 'cause I really am
please, if you could, just keep it, just
Well,
address
I'm
it
keeping it simple.
solely as to...
Listen, believe me, there is so much that could be said that isn't being said out of the respect
Right.
for our Constitution. So what I'd like to tell you is that I was told that the applicant was in the room. I've yet to meet him, okay? And of course, you don't want to hear about the death threats and everything else. You contact the Attorney General about that, and I've implored you to do so in the past. Most recently, I did have the opportunity to meet one of the property managers for Mr. Schwimmer outside of my house, who denied who he was and why he was there. But I will tell you that this planning board needed to consider, before approving this, that this is an application in the
All right,
middle of
Sir,
nowhere.
This is
an
not, this is
application
not a
On
that is
motion.
farms,
finished.
and we have regions in our township that
This is not a motion
Sir.
for
are much more
reconsideration.
suited to this
Okay,
development.
let me just-
I understand that,
So,
but
what
I got to
you're-
continue to pay my mortgage. Now, if you want to
This
pay
is
my
not a
mortgage off, you
motion
want to
for
accept my
reconsideration.
property,
You
that's
cannot
fine.
address the original approval in the totality of it. What I'm saying is that if you
I
have
understand
any-
what you're saying, but
if
what
you
you're
have
saying is that
if
we're
you have any
screwed.
issues that
And
you
I
want to
don't
talk
get
about
screwed. You
with
got
this,
that?
with this road, feel free to talk about it. But just as to the removal of this condition.
Okay. You see that turning radius right there? Okay. Do you see the amount of traffic and the proximity to my dirt road? That's a concern. You had an expert in here, he's full of crap, okay? That's not a sufficient turning radius. And I want to note that on this application, although your applicant screwed you right over it, they have combined the lots without officially combining the lots, and used the lot 16, which is supposed to be designated by the authorities having jurisdiction, Department of Environmental Protection, as not to be disturbed or not used. And yet it was used in their calculation and it's shown on their plans. They just like turned a line over here and delineated it when it's not actually part of it. It's a separate lot. Why doesn't the board consider that for
The DEP
preservation?
handles delineation lines. So
But it's not combined, and yet it's used in the
So
calculations.
The DEP has jurisdiction over delineation lines. If they think that somebody's violating it, they send an agent to come out, do an inspection of the site, and you can get absolutely whacked up the side of the head with violations on that. So that's out of our jurisdiction, that's out of our purview. We cannot deny or approve an application on, but again, that's going outside the scope of what we're here for tonight.
The revisions that I see on there are different from the original application. I suggest the board take a closer look at it, consider everything that was given in testimony, and take a step back. And I ask for the community that is moving into my community that they have a little heart and ask themselves if this is proper behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this project?
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Menachem Brukir, I live at 327 Frank Applegate Road.
You can
Jackson.
please
Would
spell
you
that
please spell
for
that
the-
for the record? Thank
Sure.
you.
Brukirer. It's a very short comment. I just want to address my neighbor over here. I just want to say that I'm one of those people who moved in about a year ago. I'm actually here supporting you and your side of it. I just want you to know that from me, and that's what I'm here to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else who would like to speak on this particular application?
Seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public testimony.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any board questions for this, concerning this testimony? I would make one comment that I know after all that we do, this goes to other agencies, and other agencies will be looking at this. There are things we can discuss and we can determine, some things we cannot determine. So our attorney will be letting us know what we will be exactly voting on this evening.
All right, so what we're going to be voting on this evening is the removal of the condition of having the secondary access point. Ms. Jennings, if you want to sum it up.
I think you hit it there. Just simply put, as a prior condition of the approval, we were supposed to have secondary access along Johnson Lane. An appeal was filed. The plaintiff does not want to see the fire access on Johnson Lane, so we decided to come in and seek relief from that condition.
Yes, sir.
No, we're not.
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you. Good point. Any comments from the board? I'll seek a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, based on the applicant originally agreeing with us and trying to make things better with a separate applicant. I give him credit for that and appreciate it. And whether you're faced with, and everything is still the same footprint except for that, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
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 Looking for a second. Thank you, Mr. Tremor. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Brezzi?
Yes.
Mr. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. DeMarzo?
Yes.
Mr. Heller?
Yes.
Mr. Tremor?
Yes.
Mr. Wall? Yes. Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Mr. Alfieri, back so soon. Ms. DeMarzo, you did not get your wish. And I didn't either. Welcome.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board. Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant.
You want to swear him in? Mr. Alfieri, or you just want to, you want to tell Mr. Alfieri he can start?
Oh, yeah, let me see the file.
All right,
Good?
just getting the file.
Fine.
Hi, thank you. Oh, very nice. Thank you. Okay. Paperwork you brought tonight.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Some light reading. Yeah. All right, Mr. Alfieri?
Yes, thank you. This is a application for a shul at 1231 Aldrich Road. There was, before the ordinance was revised by the town to establish the parameters by which shuls are permitted uses, this was pending before the zoning board. There were a couple hearings. Once it became a permitted use, that application was withdrawn, filed before this board, so we're starting fresh with a new application before this planning board. Do you want to hear from your professionals before we start?
Yes, sir.
Please, thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application for preliminary and final site plan for the conversion of existing residential dwelling to a house of worship. The project's, or the development is compliant with ordinance standards. We do request some confirmation regarding a parking area, a setback to the, to the right-of-way. It's not indicated on the plan, so the minimum's 15 feet. We just want to make sure that that's adhered to. There's not really any environmental issues. It doesn't require an environmental impact statement, or we should have some testimony from the applicant regarding any comments which might have been received from the Environmental Commission. Some testimony regarding the site utilization and proposed operations. It's on a county road, so they'll have to get approval from the county planning board. Parking's compliant. That's all at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our office has a report dated August 27th of this year. This is now a conforming use in the zone. There are specific standards for this use. Mr. Clee touched on one of them that may not be compliant, and that has to do with parking setback of 15 feet from a public street right-of-way and the screening adjacent to it with a hedgerow or closely grouped cluster of plantings. We'd ask that the applicant give clear and concise testimony with regards to that. While this is a new application and had previously been before the Zoning Board of Adjustment, I want to remind the applicant and the public that we need to get a full record here. So as we go through, you may hear me, because I also represent the Zoning Board, go through and say, that's a presumption that you got from before. So I don't want you to think I'm being rude to either the applicant or the public, but if we get to something where there's something that was discussed previously at the zoning board hearing, we're going to straighten it out to make sure that the record here at the planning board is complete.
That'll be a big help. Thank you.
We're going to introduce our engineer first. Request that he be sworn in, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Eric Halpert, Halpert.
And Mr. Halpert, we're seeking to have you qualified as a professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. Will you place your credentials on the record, please?
An engineer and a planner, or just an engineer?
We have no variance relief, but yeah, we'll put them both on, you never know.
I'm a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey. These plans were prepared under my supervision, and I have provided testimony before this board before.
Madam Chair.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Mr. Halpert.
The board accepts his credentials?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Let's refer first, would this be A1? Can you identify what it is, please?
The planning board is looking at the aerial exhibit. It could be marked as Exhibit A1. Could you zoom out just slightly, Anthony, just to get a bigger picture? The property is located along Aldrich Road near the intersection of East Connecticut Concourse, near the municipal boundary line of Monmouth, and the site is located, consists of lots 2 and 3, along with an access easement that the applicant has on the township property of Lot 1, which we will show provides a secondary access point to East Connecticut. I'll just go through operations first.
Fine, thank you.
I spoke with the applicant, and I have knowledge of the operations of the place of worship.
And we submitted a written operation statement as well, correct?
Yes.
But go ahead, please summarize.
The applicant, could you go to the rendering, the second page of this file?
And before you tested that, you want that?
Yes, just to have the rendering. This
So
is
let's
Exhibit
mark-
A2.
A2 would be the color rendering of the elevation. And our architect's here, he can discuss it in a little more detail later. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The applicant is seeking to have approved a place of worship. The place of worship will contain an area of assembly for the prayers. There will be a separate area also located within the existing dwelling for a social hall. The hours of operations are typically during the week. Services are held in the mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. They end between 7:45 a.m. and 8 a.m. There are services in the evening between 10:20 p.m. and 10:35 p.m. There may be services in the afternoon, which would run from approximately 2 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. On Saturdays, prayer services are longer, and there are more people that walk. Services are from approximately 8:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. There are also services approximately 1 hour before sunset to sunset. The use of the social hall will be limited to member-only smaller events such as bris, bar mitzvah, and other smaller events, lectures. There will be no wedding receptions in the social hall. There is no cooking that will take place on the site. There is a kitchen which will be used for warming and food serving only. In the basement, there is a small portion of the addition which will have a basement for a mikveh that will provide mikveh services for men in conjunction with morning services, and it can accommodate approximately 2 to 3 people. Regarding
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
there, as an accessory use, there is a mikveh in the basement of the addition, and the architect is here, will go in detail through the architect plan, but there is mikveh in the basement meant for men, and the use of that is in conjunction with the morning services. Anticipated deliveries would be on Friday afternoon, some food deliveries for a post, for a kiddish, a small post-services event. Those deliveries would typically happen Friday afternoon, and they would be a typical small box truck. Trash will be collected via private service. It would be anticipated that twice weekly trash removal will suffice for the place of worship, and the trash pickup will include both solid waste and recyclables. There will be one wall-mounted light that will remain on at night for security purposes. Maintenance of the site, both of the stormwater management system and the overall maintenance, will be taken care of by the owner.
And there were two other comments within the operation statement. Public water and sewer will be provided?
The applicant has preliminary approval to connect to the public water and sewer.
And then in terms of signage, only a building-mounted sign is proposed, not a freestanding sign?
Yes, that is what is proposed.
Okay, so let's get into the site plan, which Anthony...
Anthony, could you bring up the site plan?
May I ask one question on the operations?
Yes.
Please? There will be no rentals,
No
and
rentals?
that will be stipulated.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no banquet facilities, no weddings, nothing like that.
No weddings. The functions that were mentioned will be hosted by members only, and no rental.
Of the congregant, of the congregation,
congregants.
right. Yeah, no outside contracts or anything like that.
Correct.
Thank you.
What's the number of members that it will hold?
The number of member families is approximately 60, and the architect will go through each room. The assembly room could hold approximately 197 people in the main base medrash, and in the place of prayers, and in the social hall, the number is slightly lower. It is approximately 122 people can be held in that room, and there are 60 member families.
Thank you.
And which page of the site plan?
Can you please bring up the third sheet of this file? And this set could be marked as Exhibit A3. This is the submitted site plan. Thank you. Could you zoom in just slightly? First to discuss just the roadway, the applicant is seeking to propose a place of worship with two entrances, one along the county road, along Aldrich Road, and one through the easement that the applicant has acquired and has been filed within the township property. The movement along Aldrich Road is showing a full movement, and it is showing a full movement. The traffic expert will provide more testimony. The plan has been submitted to the county, and we have received comments which we will be able to address. The access along East Connecticut Concourse is going to be a 24-foot wide driveway, and there is a dimension that will be corrected. The access is going to be 24 feet wide. The applicant is seeking to install 57 parking spaces, which with credit for the EV spaces will count as 59 parking spaces. The plan shows circulation with access along Aldrich Road, and there is a secondary access along East Connecticut Concourse. There was no driveway proposed, no parking, no driveway access proposed in front of the building. Because of a comment of the fire official, a grass paver area is proposed in order to provide emergency access around all four sides of the building.
But before you get into further detail, there were two questions that were raised by the board professionals that may or may not result in variance relief. One was, on the plans, we only show, I believe, 2 handicap spots, but we're supposed to have 3.
The applicant will revise the plans and provide 3 parking spots.
And then the setback question raised to the public right-of-way with the landscaping, will the applicant comply with that provision of the ordinance?
The applicant is not seeking variance relief. The closest spot to the right-of-way is at 15 feet at these areas that provide the access for the emergency vehicle, and the applicant will revise the plans to provide the required screening of under 30-inch high shrubbery along both sides of the parking areas that have frontage, that provide frontage to the sites.
Would the applicant also be willing to move the EV parking spaces away from the building?
Yes. Yes, the applicant can move the EV spaces to the other across the drive aisle.
Perfect, thank you.
So can you describe how stormwater management generally will operate?
Anthony, could you go to the next page? The applicant is proposing a combination of surface basin and subsurface basin to provide both the water quality and attenuation in the surface basin and provide treatment and comply with the stormwater rules with the added subsurface basin. There is an overflow connection to a county relocated catch basin, and this is as per the county in a pre-app meeting, and this was submitted, and the county accepts the relocation of the catch basin with the widening of the curb return and the overflow connection to the county catch basin.
And the technical comments contained within the board professional reports relating to stormwater management will be addressed to your
Yes.
satisfaction?
Yes.
And they will be compliant with both the stormwater management regulations and the township ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, continue.
Anthony, could you go back to the third page, to the previous page? To go through some of the comments and address some discrepancies. The information, there was a comment indicated in the board planner's report regarding certain discrepancies between the site civil plan and the architect plan. The footprint, the outer footprint is 4,392 square feet, is referring only to the footprint of the building. And the main congregation seating area is, there is a typo. The site civil plan says 2592, and there is actually 2952. This is indicated on the architect plan. That was a typo. That does affect the parking calculation. However, there still is sufficient parking. The number 2952 would result in a requirement for that assembly area of 36.9 parking spaces, as opposed to what is indicated on the site plan of 33 because of the typo of 2592. And the correct number is 2952, which results for that assembly area requirement of 37 parking spaces.
And going back to the parking spaces, since you're moving the EVs across, you could probably, and I suggest putting the other handicap spot where the EVs would have been.
Correct. The handicap spots will be located adjacent to the building.
Okay. And the EVs will be across.
The EVs will be across.
And the applicant agrees, part of a condition, to comport with all parking requirements, right?
Yes, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
And so I guess, so I'm just clarifying for the record, this typo, a significant typo, but the applicant was overparked and there is sufficient parking either way. So it is 2952 for that assembly area. That would result in 37 parking spaces.
And can you describe, well, perhaps not, maybe we'll make it simpler. Lighting, there were comments in the professional reports about the site lighting. Again, will you agree to address all those comments?
Yes.
And how are the lights shielded, and will they be on timers, and when will they go on and off?
The lights will be on timers. They will go off as per the direction of the board. A typical time, they could go off at 11 p.m. if that is okay with the board. So again, to go through the board planner comments and clarify the discrepancies, it is 2952 for the main congregation seating area. There is a revised, the architect plan that was submitted, resubmitted to the plan, changed the assembly area for the social hall, slightly revised down, and the numbers on the architect plan are the numbers that will govern for the floor areas. So it is, sorry.
Do you have any waivers you're requesting? Any waivers?
We are requesting waivers from providing 10-foot.
Okay, we can get to that. I just wasn't sure. You can keep on going.
So it is 2952 for the base, for the main congregation seating area, and 1824 for the social banquet hall. Those are the numbers for the parking calculations, and again, we are overparked. There was a, to clarify further, there was a resubmitted architect plan. The original plan that, I don't know if the board members saw, but just to clarify what the board members are looking at, the original plan showed a more extensive basement, and therefore there were exterior steps leading to the basement. Architect plans were revised. There is a small basement area, and there are no exterior steps, and these exterior steps...
Madam Chair,
Funny
I'm
you
going to
should
jump back
mention
in and
that.
talk about revised plans, and
It doesn't
this is the
help
first
us.
time this board's seeing this application. I
We
don't know
haven't
where we
seen
get
it.
to talk about
But
revised
I was
plans.
going to wait for the architect. However, I'm concerned that there are no longer, I was reading the plans, and there are no external steps. You've got a mikveh down there. If there's an emergency, how are the people that are downstairs, they're going to have to go through a building that might be on fire to get outside? I think that's a concern. I was going to wait for the architect.
I will let the architect address that.
But you mentioned it, so.
I'm only mentioning, so to clarify, these architect steps, these exterior steps will not be part of resubmitted plans as part of resolution compliance, because there is no section, there is no basement in that area.
Not that area.
Correct.
But in another area.
There is an area here, and there are interior steps
But
that
no
provide.
exterior steps.
No exterior steps.
That's a concern, but I'll hold that for the architect. Thank you.
Let's just, now that we're talking about the revised plans, so what revised plans are we talking about? Do you have the date of revision, or, so we can be specific with what we're...
The plans that are, the architect plans that the board has are dated 6/21/22 with a revision date of 1/17/2024. And I'm sorry for the confusion. We will not refer to revised plans. We will just simply...
Because we haven't seen them and we won't.
Correct.
We're only working with what we have.
Yes, so therefore, we will only refer to the plans in front of the board.
Thank
And
you.
the only clarification I will provide is that the exterior steps will not be on the revised plans pending any comments
But-
you have regarding the access for the
Okay.
mikvah.
Can we just confirm, so the architect plans that we should be looking at are the ones from August 12th of 2024? Those are the ones?
That's when they were submitted, yes.
Yes, that's what we
Thank you.
have. Right. Here it comes again.
Mr. Halpert, you just said that's when they were submitted. The plans that were submitted have a date of August 12, 2024. Are those the plans you're referring to?
Yes, I was looking at a previous, yes, those are the plans I am referring to, yes.
Thank you.
And they are in front of me, 8/12/2024.
So don't confuse us with stuff that we don't have.
Yes.
That we're not going to decide upon.
Yes.
Just let us work with what we have. Thank you.
8/12/2024, okay.
So I just have a few more questions, and then I think we could answer questions. Number one is, there are comments in the reports relating to landscaping, and there's also a CME report relating to landscaping. You're prepared to stipulate that you will address all of those comments?
The applicant is prepared to address the comments specifically to provide the screening required as per the new ordinance in front of the parking.
And then you already discussed solid waste. Is there a dumpster location that you could show the board?
There is a dumpster location located off of the drive aisle.
And that has sufficient access for a garbage truck to pick it up?
Yes.
Okay. And then there are also many other technical comments contained within the board planner, the board engineer report. Again, you'll agree to address those comments?
Yes.
There's nothing in those comment reports that you are not prepared to address?
Correct.
Okay. That's all we have.
And fire and traffic, you'll be agreeing to all those conditions?
The fire, yes, and specifically the fire wanted 4 sides access, and therefore we're providing the grass pavers.
And do we have a letter from the fire department telling us all this?
Yes.
Thank you.
And may I also ask, since Mr. Riker is not here, that you have an entrance sign by both entrances, just stating the address? And that
We learned that with the last hearing we had not proposed them, but we have no issue working with your professionals to put some form of entrance sign at both driveway connections.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
And
it.
just to clarify, there's a fire report from the zoning board application. We have not received one on this application, but they're substantially similar plans, and we're prepared to address the prior report, and we're prepared to address the
So we'll
future
make that
report.
part of our,
No issue.
It'll be a condition of approval.
part of
Understood.
condition of approval.
Understood.
Thank you. Mr. Halpert, nice as usual. Thank you. Any comments, any questions from the board members?
Madam Chair, I'll jump in while everyone's waiting. Mr. Halpert, you and your client will agree to consolidate the lots?
Yes.
And in the statement of operations on the first page, the third paragraph, we use different phrases, and I usually blame attorneys for this, but I don't think Sal wrote this. So it says approximately 25 to 30 people attend each service during the week. However, the applicant expects that it could grow to 35 to 40 attendees. Typically, only 15 to 20 congregants arrive by car. Those all mean the same thing, right?
They're all the same.
Yes.
So basically, the religious service generally is 35, the plan is that, with any luck, grow it to 35 to 40 folks during normal services, outside of Saturday.
Correct, outside the Sabbath, during the
And then
week.
you have 60 families, 60 member families, who will attend services on Saturday, who will walk.
Correct, yes.
Thank you for the clarification. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Clay?
Just real quick, we got the setbacks, or the parking setbacks that are right away, that will comply?
Yes,
And the buffer, 5 foot wide, but no fencing. Fencing will be provided?
Defer to the board. Again, your language says buffer and/or fence, and...
We like and.
I know.
And is always nice.
That's what you ruled last time, but...
Well, you know why we like and, is because that way people can't cut through, make a shorter walk sometimes, and pathways that you really don't want. So we have found that if we say a fence and a buffer plantings, then you don't have people cutting through making paths.
Understood.
A fence will be added to the plan.
That's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
That sounds good. Thank you very much, sir. Next witness.
Our architect?
Oh, he'd be good. And welcome.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right? Yep, you may have to turn it on.
Yes, I do.
And please state your name and spell it for the record.
Avtoli Gut, G-U-T,
And you're a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey?
correct? I
And
have-
you were qualified before this board previously?
Yes,
And your office prepared the plans that
Yep.
is-
yes, absolutely.
accept his credentials,
Yes,
Madam Chair?
we
Thank you.
accept. Welcome again.
Thank you, thank you.
So you want to, do you want us to go to A2 first, the colored elevation, or do you not need that?
Always nice
It's
to
your
start at the
question.
beginning.
I'd rather start with the floor plans.
Okay, Anthony, you have floor
Architecturals?
plans?
Four plans.
The architectural plan, it should be the next exhibit.
A3?
No, that is A3, the engineering plan.
Oh, that's the engineering plan.
Yeah.
We're looking at the architectural plan.
It would not be in that package, right? Ellie,
It's a
it's a
separate-
different, it's a
separate
different
package.
attachment. Architectural, yeah, that's, good. And let's mark this as A4. Can you, is this just an architectural set prepared by your office?
Correct.
And it's that August date that we referred to
It's
previously?
Yes, August 12th.
Okay, so that would be
We could
A4.
start with A3, sheet A3.
Sheet A3. Good?
This is the old set.
It's a different one. Different from what I have.
That's the zoning set.
I think that's the zoning board set, because we have a totally different set of plans here. We don't have all that.
It looks like the exhibit submitted doesn't match the plan that was submitted.
No, sir.
All right, but you,
I think it actually says zoning on the top.
you have this, you have the set in front of you, though, I assume, right? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
we
but it's
could-
very different than what's
It's
up there.
quite
Yes, I
different.
understand. I don't know. We could,
Would you like to take a 15-minute break?
we could.
That's fine, I
10
could just
minutes,
talk about it. You
and
guys have
then-
it.
Well,
give it
because,
to Anthony.
because anyone else who's here can't see what we see.
We could give it to Anthony now.
Yeah, give us, we'll take 10 minutes, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. No more than 10 minutes. And is there a fireproof door between the main section and the exit?
Yeah, all the doors leading to this firewall will be our fire-rated doors and with self-closer and panic doors.
All right,
And also to point out, this building will be sprinklered, and there's an area of refuge in the staircase downstairs. So you just have to get to that stairwell, and you're safe for a nice 2 hours.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the fire rating on the doors, 1 or 2 hours, or it hasn't?
Just
been
1
determined?
hour needs.
1 hour? Is there sprinklers in the staircase too?
There is,
Okay.
yeah, there is a sprinkler in the staircase, yes.
I'm just saying for clarification, so people get it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so either way, the house of worship consists of a 2,952 square foot base medrash. The main entrance is facing Aldrich over here. This is the main entrance leading into the vestibule, then straight ahead into the base medrash. To the right of the vestibule is a sink area, bathroom, and coat closet, coat room. To the left is the rabbi study, a little coffee area, which leads you to the library and to the multipurpose room over here. There's another entrance straight from the street over here, which leads you to the multipurpose room and the warming kitchen and more bathrooms. If we could go to the next sheet. Thank you, Anthony. So this is the mezzanine over here. Again, fire-rated staircase, less than 50 occupants. And we have some bathrooms and, again, a little coat area. And the main base medrash is a double-height space, and this library overlooks the base medrash. The IBC square footage on the first floor is 2,890 square feet for the existing house. The addition is 4,216 square feet, which is a total of 7,106 square feet on the ground floor. The mezzanine floor is 1,312 square feet. The basement portion is 889 square feet. The existing house ceiling height is 9 feet. The additional ceiling height, in addition, first floor is 10 feet on the first and 8 on the second, and there's 9 feet ceiling height in the basement. Basement, as mentioned, is double height space, which is totaling 19 and 6 inches of ceiling height. The total height of the building is 26 feet, 4 inches measured till the mean roof height. The exterior material will be primarily a light vinyl siding, and there will be accent walls that are black engineered polymer, and the same treatment will be given in between the windows. The roof will be a regular slope roof, which is matching the style of the attached residence and to blend into the prevalent houses in that residential area. There will be rooftop units that will be hidden from public view in the shelf built into the roof, which is in the rear of the addition.
And would the roof be able to accommodate solar panels if it's financially feasible?
Yes, it would.
Thank you, Mr. Alfieri.
I'm a quick study. And I think that's all we have, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And the rendering that was marked at the beginning as A1 is the color rendering that your office prepared?
Correct.
That's right. All right, that's all we have of the architect, Madam Chair.
And there will be at no time anyone living on the premises.
Correct.
Thank you. We've done several of these now, so I'm getting savvy on what can happen.
This used to be, but we changed that.
Correct. Thank you. That will be stipulated, too. Any questions from the board? Ms. DiMarzo?
Could you talk about the lighting that's going to be, I know it sounded like they were going to have a time where they would turn the lights off by like 11 p.m., but one light is going to be on all night. Is that the proposal?
Just on the outside, just for safety, right?
I think it's a wall light. Didn't I hear that it was a wall light?
A wall light for security and safety purposes
On the outside or the inside?
on the outside.
Which wall would it be located on?
It would be near the one near the entrance.
Make a motion sensor, I guess? Is that?
A motion
A
sensor?
motion sensor would be, the applicant would prefer not to have. That would create difficulties on the Sabbath.
All right.
Is that
It
going
could
to
be on a timer.
Well,
If you go back to the rendering,
there are two lights, it looks like.
is the light that's going to be on, is it going to be on the residence side, or is it going to be on the new building side?
The new building side. Facing Aldrich.
Facing Aldrich,
So
okay.
from the,
Oh.
and I can see why Mrs. Morzo says that, because when we're looking at this rendering, there's one light over the smaller section, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wall lights on the exterior. What's staying on?
Right, those lights are going off at night. That's just accent lighting. for
That's accent
aesthetics.
lighting, and it will go off at 11.
Yes,
And the one light that's over the doorway, that's the one that's staying on the far left?
The one on the far left would be the one to stay on, only for security purposes. If the board does not
That's
want.
fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
It's
good.
just, I didn't know which lights were
We
going to
weren't
be on.
sure which one, because we could only see the 9 of them.
And then I'm just curious, the color, is it like a yellowish color, or is it going to be, did you
It's
say
gonna be-
white?
I think it's going to be whitish.
White?
That's just the light reflecting, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? The professionals. Mr. Peters, Mr. Klee.
Okay, Scott Kennel is our last witness.
Oh, Mr. Kennel, long time no see.
Do we know this guy?
Yeah, I think. I think.
Welcome back.
Is there anybody else that does this?
There's a few
It's the
people.
two of you as we see.
Yeah, John Ray's the other.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Scott Kennel, Kennel, with McDonough and Ray Associates, located on 1431 Lakewood Road, Manasquan.
And you're a traffic expert that has been qualified before this board previously, I assume, is that correct?
That is correct, as well as the zoning board.
Thank you. Madam Chair, it's acceptable?
Thank you. We'll
Thank you.
accept your credentials, Mr.
Okay,
Kennel.
Scott. You want to, do you need an exhibit up?
We'll probably eventually need the site plan, which I think was A3.
Yes.
But as far as, I've been involved in this project for a number of years when it was in the zoning board, and as a result of the new application, updated traffic counts were conducted in February of 2024. We were dealing with 2022 traffic counts previously. And as far as the peak hours of analysis, we focused on the statement of operations, where we talked about services around 7 to 7:15. And then for the potential ability to have services in mid-afternoon around from 2 to 2:15. So with that, the traffic counts indicated that there's approximately 1,100 vehicles, two-way, on Aldridge Road during the morning, I'll call site peak hour, and then in the afternoon, it's approximately 920 vehicles. The statement of operations indicated that they would expect a maximum number of attendees during the services to be 40. We assumed that all 40 would enter and exit at the same time, so that results in 80 trips when we looked at the AM analysis and PM analysis, without any credit for ride sharing or anything of that nature. And with that, we then expanded existing volumes to 2034, consistent with the Ocean County Planning Board protocol, and determined that the site driveway out to Aldridge Road as a full movement driveway would operate a level service C, meaning that the delays would be approximately 18 to 20 seconds per vehicle, and that the left turn inbound movement would operate a level service A with delays of less than 10 seconds. As far as the Connecticut concourse access, since that's a very low volume roadway, which is basically serving the residential neighborhood, that was determined to operate at a level service A for both exiting movements as well as the left turn movement into the site.
Mr. Kennel, are there any roadway improvements being done on this site, at this site?
Only improvements would be what takes place along the site frontage as required by Ocean County, And then obviously on Connecticut Concourse, we're providing this curb line, this opening. And the intent of that driveway is basically a majority of the congregants live in the neighborhood to the south, so it provides them a more convenient means to enter and exit the site without having to go on Aldridge Road. So that's basically the limit of improvements, subject to if Ocean County during their final review requires more on Aldridge Road, but we haven't got there yet.
All right, and I don't know if it's you whom I should be asking, sidewalks on the entire,
There are sidewalks along the entire frontage.
just
whether
making sure, frontage and side.
Correct, whether there's some existing and then others proposed, but we'll have frontage along the entire, sidewalks along the entire frontage on both roadways.
On both roadways, thank you.
Yes. And just briefly on the site plan, it was discussed that we're providing 57 parking spaces, which exceeds the municipal requirement. I think the last number is with the adjustment in the study hall would be 52, or the hall would be 52 spaces required, providing 57. And the site's been designed to accommodate the larger wheelbase vehicles that have served the site, whether it's refuse and/or emergency vehicles. And that basically concludes my testimony on this application.
Any questions from the board members? Yes. Mr. Morrison?
I heard testimony before about the statement of operations that there were going to be, there's the ability to have up to 197 people in the building. I don't know at what point that would happen and how would that impact the
Based on
traffic?
my experience, that larger attendance occurs on the Sabbath when families are patronizing the hall and the facility. So it's typically a Saturday operation, it's a Saturday activity where we have people walking, so cars are not driven. So again, it's not an issue with adequacy of parking. I mean, I'll defer to the applicant, but my understanding, and I've worked on many of these, those large attendance events occur on the Sabbath when people are not driving, they are walking.
Well, I can't speak for when a bat mitzvah occurs, or we would have to accept the applicant's statement of operations with regards to when peak usage occurs. And if it occurs on the Sabbath, in the Jewish faith, there's no use of motor vehicles. If it happens on a Sunday, well, that might be a different story. That has to do with their presentation and their fact testimony to you. As it relates to the required parking under our ordinance, I would remind the board that they meet our new design standards for houses of worship on its face. So,
Yes. Thank you. Any other board questions?
yeah, I have a couple. So, to both either Mr. Kennel or Mr. Halpert, sheet 3 of 16 of the site plan appears to show Aldridge Road currently at about 15 and a half foot wide, and it looks like you're proposing it to 17 feet. And then providing sidewalk behind the new curb. Does that sound about right?
The plan shows 17. This was as per a pre-app meeting. The plans were submitted to the county. The county is requesting 20 feet.
Okay. My concern here is severalfold. The first is, along Aldridge Road, as a professional, I'd strongly recommend that there be no parking along Aldridge Road. A, it's a county road. B, there's a significant amount of grade change heading east out of Jackson towards Howell from Connecticut Concourse up to the top of the hill. Now, granted, credit to the applicant, the Aldridge Road access is sort of at the top of the hill. But the problem is as you're traveling east from Jackson into Howell, you've got a 10-foot rise, so you're not going to see a car coming across the top. Anyone who's lived here more than 5 years, Mr. Bressi, knows that we don't drive 40 miles an hour on Aldridge Road, right?
This is very true. I travel that road almost every day.
My concern is that even if the county doesn't say so, I think this board should say, we don't want any parking on Aldridge Road.
Now, we can make that recommendation to the township. And to, but.
Duly noted,
to
and
the
I-
township or to the county directly?
Duly noted, and I think anyone who's watching the council meetings knows that's definitely a priority looking at the county road, so we'll definitely pass it along, Mr. Peters.
So we'll make that a condition of approval. Thank you.
The applicant agrees to put signs up saying no parking, anything to that extent?
Yeah, as long as.
If the county
If the county
approves.
requires it, yeah.
Good.
My last concern is probably up for debate. Our recommendation would be that the Aldridge Road access be right in and right out only. There's no need, in our opinion, to add a new left turn in or left turn out on Aldridge Road. 400 feet away at Connecticut Concourse and Aldridge Road is a full intersection with advanced warning signs, crosswalks, striping. It's been there for 60 years. I still have that same concern that although the applicant did put the access point at the top of a ridge, I guess Mr. Kendall, did you guys do a sight line analysis to see if there's adequate?
I looked at the
Distance
vertical
for
profile and where the driveway is proposed. We have site distance of approximately 450 feet, which meet the requirements. There may need to be, it appears to be vegetation just east of our site, another lot that's within the right-of-way that would have to be cleared and would be discussed with the county to provide the proper sight lines. So from that perspective, we have adequate sight lines. It may require some clearing of vegetation. It appears to be within the right-of-way on the adjoining lot to the east to accomplish that. But that'll be the discussion with the county. And obviously, if the board is concerned with that, we can bring that to the county as well.
And what would be the downside of having a one-way access and egress?
Having right in, right out to, that would mean more traffic onto Connecticut Concourse and then be directed towards a four-way intersection. It just means additional turning movements at that intersection versus, for example, if someone is coming from the east from Route 9, if they can't make a direct left into the site, then they're required to go through that intersection, which has other vehicles turning. So it's an increase of traffic at that location in lieu of allowing them to turn into the site before the intersection. That's really the consequence. If you restrict it to right in, right out, then it means more traffic at the Connecticut Concourse and Aldridge Road intersection.
Scott, just for the record, you didn't submit the traffic report or the information that you've testified to tonight to the planning board, have you?
That's correct.
You indicated that at most you thought there were 40 congregants, 80 trips. What would you guess the trip distribution is from the east?
From the east, we had approximately 25%.
So
Minimum.
10 vehicle trips in each in the morning and the afternoon?
Correct.
So I don't think putting 10 more trips down at an intersection that's been there for 60-odd years is any less safe than putting a brand-new one in and introducing left turns in and left turns out. It's just, I'm familiar with the area. I think most of the board members are. I don't think there's a design standards that says theirs is bad and mine's better. I think it just might be a consideration of what's less worse.
The applicant's willing to concede to the right in, right out.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Good. I
one
think
cap-
that's a good safety suggestion.
Yes, just one caveat. If the county imposes something different, then it's their road.
We
So-
must bow to the
Right,
county.
we agree that we will tell the county that the town wants right in, right out only, and hopefully they'll agree with you.
And Mr. Peters, that makes sense to you? Right in, right out if the county says yes. Okay, makes sense to me.
One more question, sorry.
Mr. Barza?
I think there was a testimony that it could be up to 60-member families, so would any of that change what you just said?
Based on what the applicants provided me, right today, they have generally 25 to 30 attendees during the services. They wouldn't expect the number of attendees for the weekday services to be more than 40. But even if it increased to 50, the analysis...
60.
Or 60, I don't see where that would have a measurable change to the adjoining roadways.
And Connecticut Concourse is not going to be impacted only for a few feet, really. It's only a few feet.
Right.
So it's not like, because I know that road very well as well, and it's a community road, narrow, small lots. I don't think the impact there will be serious. It's just those few feet to get access and egress. So better idea.
Understood.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board, from the professionals?
That concludes our presentation, Madam Chair.
And therefore, we'll open it to the public. If anyone has anything to ask of these three professionals, please come forward. Doesn't want to waste his time.
All right, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Jim Seleckia, S-I-L.
If you could use the microphone, please, Mr. Selecki. Thank you. Just hold it.
S-I-L-E-C-C-H-I-A. Mr. Peters actually hit a lot of the questions I was planning on, so thank you for all of that. My only additional comments is,
Question of applicant.
it is a question. Well, there's going to be, on Saturdays, they're all going to be walking to this. What guarantees can you have that everyone is going to use the crosswalk on Aldrich?
My guess is they're coming from inside the community.
Not necessarily. There's a lot of
but-
homes on the other side of county.
What we were told in prepping for tonight is that primarily all of the congregants live on that side of Aldrich. Is it possible that others will? But we can't control what people do other than put signage up. I mean, hopefully.
Is there a crosswalk?
There's a crosswalk at the
There-
intersection.
There is.
The
at
intersections.
Right.
But I'm just saying, if they come out,
We can't make them.
just for, again, safety
It's
concerns.
not necessary to say that because you're cross-examining here. You're not testifying.
That's it. Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone else would like to come up and speak about this application and ask questions of the professionals? Go ahead.
See- Second, Sullivan.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, anyone having any comments about this project, feel free to come forward and make your comments.
Seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public statement part of the testimony.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Would you like to sum for us?
Only that I think having addressed all of the comments in the board reports and then the comments we've received this evening, variance-free application, we request that the board grant the approval, subject to all the conditions that we've stipulated to.
All right.
I just have one more question. Sorry, Bob. Were you going to ask for design waivers?
Yeah, Ellie?
We mentioned one design waiver from providing, where generally we're providing 10-foot wide islands. That island is approximately 8 feet wide, and that would be a design waiver.
but
We don't
it's-
want to lose the parking. We still will be able to provide landscaping within the island, but it doesn't conform fully with the ordinance requirements.
Madam Chair? Mostly for my edification. I'm still having trouble getting my hands wrapped around the mikveh and how that works. It might seem silly, but a men's mikveh versus why a men's versus the woman's?
So this is the applicant would be picking either one or the other, or they could have both in different locations, obviously. It would be either the men's mikveh and the women's mikveh. would need to be separate. The applicant is choosing to provide a men's mikvah, which is used by men prior in conjunction with the morning services that only men attend. The women don't attend morning services during the week, so it makes sense to provide a men's mikvah. Women's mikvah, there is a previously approved application for a larger women's mikvah, and this is purely the applicant did not feel the need to provide a women's mikvah, but they are used at two different times. The men's mikvah is used in the morning, and the women's mikvah is used at night, and the applicant chose not to provide a women's mikvah because of the recently approved mikvah application.
Fair enough. I think the prior application also had provisions for utensils, dishware. Does this include that?
This does not include, this is meant only for the men to use the mikvah. There is no other section for a utensil mikvah, no.
And the last question, how is the mikvah drained? And how often is it drained? Where does it drain to?
The mikvah, that would be similar to the previous. A mikvah generally is filtered. It is not needed to be drained too often. Approximately once a year is when it would be drained into the into the sewer system.
The storm sewer or
The
the
sanitary sewer
The
system.
sanitary
Yeah.
system. I'll have a discussion with the MUA, but that's all. Thank you.
We're all learning. Well, some of us don't. Some of us do. Thank you. Wade, a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. Sal, you should get all your applicants like this, clients, that can testify clearly and explain, willing to listen and listen to recommendations and work along with us.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
think that this being a complying application, all the things that your applicant has said they would do and work along with our professionals, I make a motion to approve.
Second, Heller?
Mr. Brezzi?
Yes.
Mr. Bernstein?
Yes.
Mr. Marzo?
Yes.
Mr. Heller?
Yes.
Mr. Trimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, good night.
Can I make a motion to close? Or give another application?
Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Have a good night, everyone.